everyone, this is Tamara, your courtroom companion. I have figured out the secret sauce for dealing with the narcissists in your life as well as keeping them out of your life in the future. Do you want to know what that secret sauce is? Well, stay tuned because I'm going to share it with you today in this video. Welcome to my channel where we talk about family court, narcissism, and custody. Please do read my disclaimer below. Nothing of what I share here today should be taken as any kind of professional advice. As a reminder, do hit that subscribe button below and the bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload my content. This will likely be one of the most important videos that I've done to date and probably in the future. It's going to rank right up there probably with the top 10, or probably more in the top 3. So this secret sauce is really important. So the secret sauce is setting and keeping boundaries. And this came sort of over time to me, how important this was. It took me about 8 years to truly figure it out. Well, maybe more like 5 or 6, but really perfecting it in the 3 years following that. Setting and sticking boundaries, I like to say, is like the mamma jamma of your emotional protection arsenal against narcissists in your life, but really with anyone who has some kind of personality disorder. This is like the top mamma jamma because it really does say this is where I end and you can begin, meaning it protects you. It sets an emotional wall around the people around you for the people in your life so they know exactly what to expect from you and how to treat you. And because it acts as sort of like an emotional protection wall, it does really keep people that are sort of unhealthy at bay. And more on that in just a bit. I say on this channel quite a bit that you can't make true what is not true. And for many years during my custody battle, I really did fear. Literally, I would be gripped with fear when I would get these emails or these text messages or these court motions from my ex-husband. I would be gripped with fear because I would say 99% of it was not true. And then the 1% that was true, it was twisted, so that's kind of not true either. And so I was always afraid of dealing with him. One-on-one, I was afraid to go to mediation with him, which I did not. I was afraid to go to court because I wasn't sure what the courts would believe. So I was gripped by fear. I felt like I had to defend everything. I felt I had to really just, if he was going to put it in writing, I had to put the truth in writing. And this was a vicious cycle, and it was all based in fear. So when narcissists come at you with all these psychological weapons, whether that be pathologically lying or rewriting history or just emotional and verbal abuse, whenever they come at you with all of that junk, your best protection is your boundary. It's setting them and sticking to them. Because if you set them and you don't stick to them, then that just brings on more of it, because then the narcissist will know that you don't mean what you say. And I can tell you 100% of the time that when I set and stick to boundaries, 100% of the time it works at keeping the narcissist at bay. I keep him from entering my emotional space. I keep him out of my head. It used to be that everything he said was louder noise in my head than what I actually believed. I was always replaying what he would say. I would replay his motions. I would replay the words he wrote to me in text, and that would be the noise that I would hear in my head. And when you begin to set boundaries and you stick to them, what you believe actually becomes louder. Through my custody battle, and it lasted 8 years, thankfully, in the last 6 months, I haven't heard anything from him through the court system, so that's great. Through this battle, my 8-year custody battle, I have become resolute in my boundary setting and sticking to those boundaries. And what I discovered was all of that fear that I had initially on sort of why I wasn't setting boundaries, being afraid of what the courts would say, being afraid of like the court seeing me as the difficult one, because my ex was very good at playing the victim and making me out to be this horrible person. And, it took a while for the courts to see where the problem was or who the problem was. But for a couple of years, I used to walk out of the court and I would feel like they treated us both the same, as though we were two parents who just didn't get along because we were divorced and we just need to figure it out, when I knew internally that that wasn't the case. From the very start, I was able to put my son's needs before my own. It was natural to me. There was no game playing. It was that what is best for him. But so when I would go to court and be treated as though I was a problem in the same way he was, it was just very hard. And so I just kept not setting boundaries because they weren't seeing what they needed to see. Now they see it. But for years, I just wouldn't set boundaries. But over time, when I started to see that the courts were seeing where the problem was, I don't know, it just gave me more confidence to set those boundaries and stick to them. But what that taught me was when I would set them, the world didn't fall apart. In fact, I felt more peace. As I said earlier, I just felt like my mind got quieter, and how I felt and believed was louder than what he was saying to me emotionally, or even through text or through email. And those boundaries just became something that I enjoyed doing because they brought so much peace to my life. And the bonus in what I discovered in all of this is that because I wasn't really taught, or I didn't learn appropriate emotional boundaries when I was younger, I mean, there was never any discussion about that, but I don't know, I just didn't walk away from my childhood knowing naturally how to set really good emotional boundaries. And I think that is what the narcissist was attracted to in me. He was not going to stick around if I had set boundaries. And so what I realized was, okay, not only will my setting boundaries and sticking to those boundaries protect me from the narcissist that's currently in my life, because we're still raising, our son together, but it's going to help me keep up a wall for those narcissists that may come into my life in the future. I think there are more narcissists walking around this planet than we actually know. And I'm pretty good at picking up when someone's a narcissist, but because I'm really good and resolute in my boundaries, I keep them at bay. But if you have a hard time with that, like setting boundaries and sticking to them, just know that by not doing them, you're attracting the narcissist in your life. It's not your fault, but what I mean by that is when they come along, they're looking for people who will not stand up for themselves. They are looking for their next victim. We're like prey to a narcissist. So by setting your boundaries, that's going to be really unattractive to a narcissist. They're not going to even, you're not even going to be worth their trouble. They're looking for people without boundaries so they can run over top of them. So this video is about, knowing that secret sauce in bringing the peace to your life is setting and sticking to boundaries. As well as when you set and stick boundaries, you are becoming unattractive to the narcissist that may kind of enter your life either through work or through relationships. If you're seeking partners, you're going to keep those narcissists out of your life if you learn how to really set emotional boundaries for yourself. Now, if you need more support in that area, the good news is that I'm opening up my coaching practice this month. And so if you need some one-on-one support, I'm going to be here for you. It will likely be my next video that I kind of announce that I've opened up my coaching practice. I'm just waiting for my website to be built and the calendar portion to be developed. And so that should be in the next week and a half or so. So it's likely going to be my next video or the video after that where I formally announce that my coaching practice is open and that I can work with you one-on-one. And boundary setting is one of my strongest sort of skill sets to share with you, and it's the one that I find most important, not only to keep narcissists out of your life, but just to allow you to be more healthy, to just be more peaceful. When you know where you stop and other people begin, it just makes life a little bit more enjoyable. If you haven't checked out my video on healing from narcissistic abuse, I'm going to link it right now above and below, because I believe that those 3 strategies that I go over in that video will be very helpful to you. I believe it'll help you jumpstart your healing journey if you are sort of getting out of a relationship with a narcissist or have one in your life right now. I believe that video will be very helpful to you. So as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.